extension, 1 through 5. Thought one, that C word. Jalen Pitre is a culture guy. And the reality is, we can sit here and we can talk about, and I'm sure we will, we can talk about what type of player Jalen Pitre is, what type of player Jalen Pitre isn't. But let's just put that aside and acknowledge that this is about more than the player. This is about more than just the player. Nick Caserio has been quoted saying, if everyone was Jalen Pitre, we'd be a pretty damn good football team. D'Amico Ryans has talked about Jalen Pitre being a swarm type of guy. D'Amico Ryans praised him for being around the team after he got hurt and working out. You hear nothing but good things from him, from his teammates. He's one of the top guys in the community, if not the top guy in the community. So I'm not saying this is the end all be all, but it does matter, especially in that building, that when it comes to swarm, when it comes to culture, when it comes to iron sharpens iron, Jalen Pitre's that guy. He's that guy. So this is a factor in the Texans making this decision. And I think it's a factor in a lot of the decisions they make, but this one especially. He's a culture guy. He's a D'Amico guy. He's a Caserio guy. So we can get into the type of player, and we will, but this is about culture. Now, there was a lot of talk about culture with the Landry Tunsil deal. Landry Tunsil was a really, really good player. Whether or not culture was a factor, I think it probably factored in a little bit. Jalen Pitre is a culture guy. So this is about more than what he actually does on the field and what he can or cannot do there. So the C word is alive and well when it comes to Jalen Pitre. Thought two, and this is just me. Some people may disagree. This contract extension feels too early. It feels unnecessary and it feels too early. And I get the counter to it is, well, the value might go up. Really? Like if Jalen Pitre has a really good season once again, is someone going to money whip him? I think there's a case to be made that in D'Amico's system, there's a lot of value. In this building, there's a lot of value with Jalen Pitre. So I don't know that he's going to go somewhere else and break bread. I don't think there's too many teams that are going to make him a regular starting safety. I don't think that's his role. And I don't know that there's too many teams that are going to make him the highest paid nickel corner in the league. So I've heard that, the contract could have gone up. He could have left, whatever. This feels early to me. It didn't feel necessary, especially given the fact that this is a position that is not easy on the body. This is why Jimmy Ward did not want to play it. And by the way, Jimmy Ward was pretty damn good at this last year before he got hurt. But this is a position. This is why Jimmy Ward wanted to come to the Texans and not play nickel, despite being arguably the best nickel in the game the year before he got here, is because it's excruciating. I mean, you're a smaller guy. You're close to the line of scrimmage. It can beat you down. And this feels like an early contract extension. I don't think that this deal was going to be much higher no matter what happened. Now, maybe Jalen Pitre comes out and has like some extraordinary season. That would be awesome. But even if we see what we saw last year, I think the money was going to be around the same. Furthermore, I think in this draft, if you look at some of the safeties and you look at some of the potential nickel guys, I think you could probably get some guys that can do similar type of things, and you don't have to pay them $13 million, whatever it was, annual value. So it feels early. And the last time that I felt this way, I thought that you probably didn't need to pay Nico Collins, although I understand it, because Nico Collins, and we'll get more into this a little bit later, Nico Collins is the number one target for your quarterback while he's on a rookie deal, and that extension is going to kick in while he's still on the rookie deal. The Pitre thing, you have more bills coming up. Like we heard about Landry Tunsil. Like, were you thinking about Jalen Pitre when you traded Laramie Tunsil. So it feels relatively early for the Pitre extension. And the time that I really was confused was the Titus Howard thing. And we'll get more into that a little later on as we continue this countdown. But this just feels a little early. And I don't know how much the deal was going to go up. Thought 3, I think last year's day 2 kind of added to perhaps the flexibility that they feel that they can invest in paying Jalen Pitre. And I'm talking about 2 starters in the secondary, Kalen Bullock and Kamari Lassiter. These guys are going to be on rookie deals for the next few years. So your starting corner, you feel good that Kamari Lassiter is going to be a solid number 2 corner. He already is, but you feel like he's going to get even better. And then Kalen Bullock, you feel like is going to be one of your safeties. You're going to have 2 guys on rookie deals. Now, I'm not saying there's like a set budget for guys that you pay in the secondary. They're obviously paying Stingley a crap ton. But maybe that kind of factors into the fact that you have 2 starting DBs that are on rookie deals. So even if it's a little bit rich, given the fact that he is a culture guy and given the fact that he was a useful player last year, maybe you're more willing to pay Jalen Pitre than you would be if you were paying, let's say Lassiter wasn't on his rookie deal and Stingley wasn't. So maybe this is some of that flexibility. They do love to invest on the defense, though. My God, do they love to invest on that defense? Goodness gracious. They love doing that. And they're pretty damn good at it. Got to get that offense right, but they're pretty good, damn good at it. Thought 4 on the Pitre extension. What does year 2 of Jalen Pitre's role look like? Because last year kind of felt a little bit like kind of an adjustment to Christian Harris not being there. Now it kind of feels like this might be the way that they're going to play defense from here on out, where Jalen Pitre, and we saw him play all the snaps for a decent extended period of time last year. Maybe this is just kind of the vision that they have when they decide to do this. I thought maybe there would be more 3 linebacker sets. I guess technically you consider Jalen Pitre a linebacker. But what does year 2 of this role look like, and how does he perform? We saw him have a good rookie year, and then we saw him fall off in year 2. How does he perform? How does he follow it up? Because last time the encore, when Jalen Pitre stock was high, it was a dud. It was a bad season. It was a rough season. It was a learning experience for him, but it was a dud. So what does the remix look like? What does the encore look like? That's another question. I'll have my popcorn ready and we'll see what that looks like. Next thought. And I want to compare this to the last two extensions that the Texans have given out, the last 2 prominent ones. Because I've seen some of the dialogue on the internet. I've seen some of the dialogue in the comments. And Stutes was kind of getting a little bit of pushback on saying that he thought this contract extension was early. But when we take the 2 most prominent contract extensions that Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans have handed out, Nico Collins and Titus Howard are the ones that come to mind. And you can almost make a case that, yeah, Nico probably would have gotten more money just because of what the wide receiver position is, but they weren't going to let him go. They would have put the tag on him and maybe negotiated or whatever. They weren't going to let him go. And you did see him miss a decent amount of time. So who knows what the deal would have been. But I don't see any comparison in Nico Collins' contract extension to the contract extension that Jalen Pitre got. I think that's crazy to even like throw those 2 in the same category. I think that's weird. This does feel a little bit Titus Howard-like, though, to me. Heading into the contract extension. I'm not saying that it ends up looking like Titus Howard. It's not as costly. It's not 100% proportional, but there does feel like there's some similarities. Now, obviously, we've seen it play out with Titus Howard and didn't end up looking great. But if you look at Jalen Pitre and you look at Titus Howard, you can make a case their rookie seasons were their most consistent seasons or most impressive seasons from start to finish. After that, you saw them in multiple roles, playing multiple positions. There was decent reason for optimism, and you extended them a year before you needed to. And like Titus Howard, I don't know, like if Titus Howard had an awesome season at right tackle, I don't think he's getting paid much more than he did. I don't think that price like soars up. I think he was a top 5 paid right tackle. I don't think that price soared up too much. In a realistic world with Jalen Pitre going out there and playing at a high level, I don't know that contract really soars up either. This is not a bargain. Like I saw the word bargain thrown out and maybe the price goes up. I disagree with that. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think that this is like some sort of bargain. Now, is it as costly as Titus Howard? No. Has DeMeco Ryan shown that he can get the job done with Jalen Pitre in a certain role? Absolutely. And as we said at the very start, there's more to it than just the performance. They value what Jalen Pitre brings beyond the football field. And they also think that kind of bleeds into what they do on the football field. So I think all of that needs to get factored in when you talk about the contract extension. I thought it was a little bit early, but it's not like you're paying a right tackle or a wide receiver. It's kind of a lower level type of thing, and they've shown that they're going to take care of their guys, and they value culture. And Jalen Pitre is one of those guys.